Why is it called intentional? Why is it called intentional? Because Bishop Schnase and Jesus know that many of us participate not faithfully, infrequently, and haphazardly in faith development opportunities, right? We may attend a Bible study, short-term study, 6-week study this year, and 2 years from then we might go to a one-day seminar, and then we might go off to a retreat for a few days, and then we might go for a week-long mission trip. But it's so infrequent and it's so haphazard that we don't stretch ourselves often enough to grow in faith. The Bible still remains a strange book for many of us. Why? Because we don't have an intentional plan in mind for reading it and learning from it. We dabble in faith practices rather than intentionally growing our faith when we have the opportunity. We don't build, if we only do small groups every so often, we don't build long-term relationships with folks that we can begin to trust and that we can ask to hold us accountable. We dabble, again, these kinds of things, but that's what we need. Intentional means having a plan in mind to make a determination we're going to act in a specific way, that we're going to stretch out for a goal, that we're going to make faith development a way of life. Intentional. What are some of the other words that come to mind for you that are like intentional faith development? Intentional. Pardon me? Plan. A plan. A priority would be another word. Another P word that comes to mind would be persistence. Purposefully. Absolutely. Those are the same kinds of synonyms that we could use in place of intentional faith development. Consistency and commitment. Okay. Why is it that we only dabble in these things? Why are we so infrequent and haphazard in our faith development? Well, let me give you 5 reasons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I think they're 5. Well, the first thing we do is fear inadequacy. We're embarrassed when we're in a group and people are quoting Scripture or turning to it, or the teacher says, well, let's look up Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 6. And you don't have a clue. Is Ezekiel in the Old Testament or the New Testament? Now, how do you spell it? We've all been there. And that's a big thing that causes us to hesitate to be a part of a group. Embarrassment. I don't know the Bible very well. Maybe I've been a Presbyterian only for a short time, or maybe I've been a Presbyterian a long time, and I really ought to know more about what that means. And you figure you might get caught. That makes us hesitate. Okay, maybe we don't know the people in the group. We have a fear of strangers, just normally in life, and that applies to small groups as well, so we don't want to participate. That's reason 1 and 2. 3, we don't find time for it. That's a hesitancy. That's an excuse. How do we find time for things in our lives, folks? We make time, right? We make time for those things that are our priorities. It's again, to say we don't find the time for it is kind of a haphazard approach. We make time for it is an intentional, planned approach. Okay. Maybe you don't believe all the things that other people believe that are in that group. That's okay. Being a Presbyterian means that there's quite a latitude in terms of what you can believe and what you really shouldn't believe. You don't have to believe everything that every other person in the group does believe. But being a part of the group gives you an opportunity to share where you're coming from and for other folks to share where they're coming from, and you can learn together and grow together. We're always looking for the fastest, cheapest, least transformational route to maturity. Right? Okay. We all want the fastest diet, right? The cheapest diet. We all want the cheapest way to gain happiness. And we really don't want to change all that much. That's the way we approach life in general, and that's the way we tend to approach faith development as well. These are things that cause us to be hesitant about jumping in and developing an intentional plan for developing our faith.